Hello. Henry V inherited a navy of just 6 ships when he succeeded to the throne of England in 1413. With William Soper, his clerk of ships, he set about reducing reliance on commandeered merchantmen and building a fleet of specialist warships fitted with deck-mounted cannons. In August 1415, after the breakdown of peace negotiations and following successful engagements with French ships in the English Channel, Henry invaded France, landing in the Seine estuary before capturing the port of Harfleur and marching on to victory at Agincourt. By 1418, Henry's navy numbered 36 vessels. When his ill-fated flagship, the Grace Dieu, designed by William Soper and constructed at a purpose-built dock at Town Quay, Southampton, was launched in 1418, 3 squadrons controlled the Channel and a peace treaty had been agreed with France. At 218 feet long and with a 40-foot beam, the 3-masted Grace Dieu was an enormous vessel equipped with 12 cannons and with a high prow providing a platform for archers. Widespread scepticism among historians about her size was dispelled when the remains of a ship buried in the mud of the River Hamble at Burlesdon were identified in 1933 as belonging to the Grace Dieu. The timbers of the hull are visible at low tide and the site is marked with a yellow cross. As far as we know, the Grace Dieu only made 1 voyage, and that was cut short when the crew mutinied, objecting at the presence of soldiers on board. After Henry's death in 1422, most of his ships were sold off. The Grace Dieu was stripped of her fittings and moored on the Hamble, where in 1439 she was struck by lightning and burned to the waterline. The next reinvigoration of the navy came in the 1460s with the accession of Edward IV and the appointment of Thomas Rogers as clerk of the King's ships. A former purser and ship's master, Rogers was the first experienced seaman rather than a merchant or court official to hold the office. Trusted with control of considerable resources, Rogers rebuilt the Royal Fleet, which saw action supporting an English invasion of Scotland in 1482. Henry VII was more interested in ships for trade than in warships and introduced financial incentives to encourage the building of larger ocean-going merchant vessels capable of long exploratory journeys. But cargoes needed protection, and 4 new ships were commissioned for the Royal Fleet, paid for by import duties. These 3- and 4-masted ships were a design known as carracks, a larger, more stable development of the single-masted round ship or cog. The new ships included a second Grace Dieu, built at Chatham, launched in 1488, soon after renamed Regent, equipped with a battery of mid-sized cannon called Serpentines. In 1495, the first dry dock in England was built at Portsmouth, and Portsmouth became home to the Navy Royal. In the first 5 years of his reign, Henry VIII expanded the Royal Fleet to 30 ships, among them the Henry Grace Dieu, popularly known as Great Harry, built at Woolwich, and his flagship the Mary Rose, built at Portsmouth. In the early 16th century, there was a revolution in warship design and naval battle tactics. The high fore and aft castles were dispensed with, unable to take the weight of increasingly heavy guns. Instead, cannons were sited below on cargo decks. Ships became longer and leaner, enabling more guns to be carried, capable of firing crippling broadsides through gun ports cut in the hull. Rather than vessels lining up abreast to ram, grapple and board an enemy fleet, a long-distance inline formation was adopted. The phrase "ship of the line" appeared. Built at Portsmouth and launched in 1511, the Mary Rose was among the first, and by some accounts the very first, to be built to the new, sleeker, more manoeuvrable design, with the ability to fire broadsides. By 1520, 2 clerical posts had been created to handle the administration of the expanding Navy Royal. The team soon grew into the King's Majesty's Council of the Marine, with a clerk of the ships, clerk controller, keeper of the storehouses, master of naval ordnance and others, under the direction of a Lord Admiral and Vice Admiral. It later became the Navy Board, a forerunner of the Admiralty. The Mary Rose saw action against France and Scotland and underwent extensive refits in 1528 and again in 1536. She sank, leading the attack against a French fleet in the Solent in 1545. There are competing theories about her loss. The French claimed credit, but crew error in the heat of battle is a more likely explanation. The wreck was discovered in 1971 and raised 10 years later thanks to the efforts of the Mary Rose Trust, revealing a hold and 4 decks. A time capsule of artefacts recovered, including thousands of personal objects belonging to the crew, now on display in the Mary Rose Museum, have enormous historical value and tell us much about life on board. The Master Surveyor of Ordnance at the Tower of London, Anthony, produced a wonderful record of Henry VIII's Navy Royal, known as the Anthony Roll. That will be my topic next time. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell to be informed when the next video is available, or you can subscribe by clicking on the rose window over my shoulder.